Hey guys, straddle this straight line here and you'll be in 3 places at once. You'll be in Wyoming and South Dakota and the Buffalo Gap National Grasslands. Pretty cool.
It has been one roller coaster ride after another. Stay tuned.
At Mammoth, the Mammoth site in Hot Springs, South Dakota, in the Black Hills National Forest. Which one do you want me to read?
Read that.
It says, you have traveled back 2.5 billion years ago. Deep beneath the Earth's crust, molten granite is slowly moving up. They are studying ants.
Why does that say brown Gary?
I have no idea.
Whoa.
Maybe there's an ant there that's named Brown Gary.
A bunch of ants are carrying a bee.
They're carrying a bee?
They're red ants.
Oh, they're carrying a dead something. Yep.
They're red ants. This one's carrying something else. It's backwards.
Yeah, look at that. That ant is carrying something that's way bigger than it. It looks like a dead worm.
Yeah, it looks like a dead worm. Let's go because I
What you
wanna
see?
go.
That's a big mammoth.
Must be
Those are fossils from a mammoth.
1,000 years old.
You think it's 1,000 years old? Look at those tusks. What do you think of that, Autumn? Yeah. Yeah, it's big, huh? June of 1974, George Hansen, who was leveling the ground for a hot springs housing development, when he was digging, he all of a sudden hit something that shone white in the sunlight. And when he got a closer look, he realized that what he saw was a tusk about 7 feet long. All of these mammoths fell into this sinkhole and there was water rushing in and it ended up killing them. And so there's a whole bunch of them all over. They're still digging out.
Mom,
What was really cool?
the mammoth site.
I know, it was a big sinkhole, huh? And they all fell into the sinkhole and died. Yeah, that was kind of sad, huh? We're driving right now through Black Hills National Forest on our way to go see Mount Rushmore. And we had an interesting drive on the way over here. So as we were headed down I-80 towards Wyoming, I saw that there was a crash coming up and it was a 54-minute delay, and I told Jeff we should try and see if we can find a way around it. And I found this little town outside of Colesville, and I said, I'm gonna go up, you get gas, I'm gonna go up and see if it'll end up being the same time or if it's gonna be way too slow. And so I left him at the Chevron gas station, and he then calls me and tells me that he's gonna continue on I-80. It looks like maybe the crash is clearing up. At that point, I had decided to just keep going on this little tiny road.
The station that I stopped at was a tiny little gas station, and I'm pulling a 40-foot rig behind me. Anyways, I get in fine, I fill up. This little gas station, you have to turn pretty sharp to get to the exit, and as I was turning sharp, the back end kind of swung too far over and bumped one of the guard posts. Luckily, there was somebody here who was like, stop, and so I stopped. I knew that was going to happen. I didn't go with my first instinct. I was going to back out and then pull forward. I didn't go with my first instinct for some reason, and I decided to turn, and then I hit that post. Anyways, I stopped. My rig's it's not even dented. It just tore some things a little bit. Anyways, that was pretty upsetting. I called my wife. I'm trying to get a hold of her. She's not answering the phone because there's no service.
Yep, I lost service on that little road.
And so, like we had decided prior to, I went back around, get back on 80, and start driving. And 15 minutes later, I hit a parking lot. What are we doing here?
Straight through.
I hit a parking lot, and it's freaking, I'm sitting there for 20, 30 minutes just sitting there. We weren't moving at all. Anyways, we finally get past the wreckage, and it's a Class A RV burnt on the side of the road. It was burnt to a crisp. The only thing left was like the front end and the frame. And I'm like, jeez, it was bad. Anyways, no service. Well, I can't get a hold of Candace to tell her what happened with my rig, that I bumped the back of it. Can't tell her about, hey, I'm delayed because of a stupid accident. So I'm driving, and it's getting dark, and I'm pulling this heavy rig behind me without any co-pilot or without any backup, and I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out that I can't get a hold of my wife, because what if something happened to her? What if something happens to me and I can't get a hold of her to come get me? I was freaking out for about an hour while I was driving to try and get some service. I'm thinking I'll just drive until I get service, and then I'll call Candace and find out where she's at. That did not happen. There was no service. Finally, I see signs for Little America, and I'm like, oh, we had talked about this prior to. We were going to stop at a Little America. I'm thinking she's there. You know, I know she's going to be there waiting for me. So anyways.
So as I'm driving on this little tiny road, I'm like, fine, it's beautiful. I thought it was the best road ever. And then it starts to get to the point that I'm starting to get a little nervous because it's getting later, it's getting dark out, and I'm like, I still don't have cell service. Like, where is I-80? I can't tell on my Google Maps because it's down. And then my 1-year-old decides to have a blowout in her diaper, and I do mean a blowout. You'll have to excuse our baby, she's a little fussy right now. Anyway, so she has a blowout. It's all over her hands, on the food she's eating. It's disgusting. So I pull over and I'm changing her diaper, and which took me a little bit. Obviously, I had to strip her down completely naked. She's nothing to wear. So she's naked now in her seat, with the diaper on. And then I start driving, and I finally hit Evanston, Wyoming, and I'm like, oh good, a town. We're gonna have cell service. I can't get a hold of him, and I'm like, oh, it's getting really dark. Maybe he's ahead of me. He's gotta be ahead of me. So I keep driving, and for like the next hour, there's no cell service at all. And I'm like, this is crazy. How do we not have cell service as we're driving through these towns? Anyway, I think to myself, I'm just gonna get to Little America. He knows that's where we're stopping. We're gonna go to Little America. I get to Little America. He's nowhere to be found. It's 9:20 at night. It's already taken half an hour past what I think it should be, and he's not there. And I'm like, oh great. So I've got a naked 1-year-old, a little baby who's fussy, all my kids. I take them inside, but it's like so late at night. But then I'm like, well, we'll just hang out here and have some ice cream. And I can't, because my 1-year-old wants to touch every toy and every trinket that's there. And because she's so tired, if you tell her no, she like screams bloody murder. So I'm like, everybody just get in the car. And now I'm getting paranoid. I'm like, where is my husband? Oh my gosh, he probably flipped the rig. He's on the side of the road. I'm thinking every horrible thing that you could possibly think. I'm like, transmission, we can't, I was like, we can't do anything. So anyway, it's now 10 o'clock. I can't get a hold of him. So I go in and I ask the cashier lady, I'm like, do you guys have an emergency phone? And I'm thinking the whole time, like, if I didn't have cell service, there's no way Jeff had cell service. But she let me use her phone anyway. And I got out and I called him, and nothing. So my daughter's like, Mom, we need to say a prayer. So we get down on our knees and we say a prayer. And then I look up right after the phone call, and Jeff is pulling in, and it has been 4 hours on what should have normally been only a 2.5 hour drive to get there. And he pulled in, and I basically ran up to him, started to cry. I was just so thankful that he was safe. And we basically learned our lesson that even when we're caravanning, we will never split up again, no matter what it is. Never split up again. And the next day we used walkie-talkies because we didn't have cell service the whole next day we were driving all the way here. It's crazy, but Wyoming apparently does not have good cell service, at least not if you're with AT&T. So we used our walkie-talkies the next day. So 2 things we learned: don't split up, and have walkie-talkies in case you can't have cell service.
Yeah, Moral of the story, don't split up ever. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not. Anyways, we're here now at Mount Rushmore. We can see it way off in the distance, so we're gonna get out and take a look at it before we get closer. First tunnel, guys, here we go. Are you all ready? Oh look, there's Mount Rushmore. Tell us what the president's names are up there. Do you know?
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, it's in my guidebook. I just got
Thomas Jefferson,
Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt, and stop walking so close. The one on the far right. Who is it?
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. How many years did it take them to make it?
14, and I don't know how they did it.
14 years and over 3,000 workers.
And I'm gonna run with my heels up like this.
Okay. You got a follower. Autumn's coming too.
Come on. I'm bouncing. Come on. Where's the fifth president?
What do you see, Faith? We are on the presidential trail to get an up-close look at Mount Rushmore. Here's a profile view of George Washington at Mount Rushmore. What'd you think of Mount Rushmore, Liberty? Huh? Huh? What'd you think? Were you having fun? Yes. Was it good? Crazy Horse was one of my favorite places to visit out here in the Black Hills. In this picture, you can see the white sculpture is what the mountain will eventually look like. I mean, they've been working on this for years, I think back into the 70s. And you can see on the mountain behind the white sculpture, and that's where they currently are. They have his face done, and they've carved out the top of his arm and his finger, and they're getting ready to start on the horse. It's absolutely amazing. And Crazy Horse was a chief back during the 1800s when there was a peace treaty going on between the whites and the Native Americans. And he was actually killed under a peace treaty when the gold rush came in. Everybody fled to the Black Hills looking for gold and completely avoided the peace treaty. So occasionally you might hear our son Jacob singing. Say hi, Jake. So we drive, and a lot of times while I'm driving, my son likes to sing to his shows, and it's so cute. I love it. I'm gonna miss it one day.
Anyways, day 2, we drove a lot longer, which we didn't want to plan on doing. But any kind of obstacle that we could run into, we did. I mean, we were leaving this one town.
Hold on, Jen. Can you hear him, guys? He keeps singing. Oh shoot, he caught us. He caught us. He's been doing this since he was like 2. All right, Jeff, day 2.
So
we're trying to make a video and he just keeps singing, so you guys are never gonna hear us.
okay, buddy. Hey, keep it down real quick.
He can't hear you. He can't hear you. You're cute, Jake. Okay, go ahead, Dad. Day 2.